Hey guys, so let's talk about where to go and start your bookkeeping business and where to find bookkeeping clients. So, for me, I'm making this video because I get asked this question a lot. And when I say like a lot, I mean like a lot. And it's a very important question because if we don't know where to start, if we don't go and get clients, there is no business. And a lot of people are overwhelmed with like all the different tasks that are just kind of, there from a business perspective. Like, what should I be doing? Like, what should I be spending my time on? What is gonna like make me money? What's gonna waste money? What's gonna, save me time? What's gonna waste time? So I want to be able to have this conversation to help you as much as possible and simplify the process, okay? Because there's always only a couple of key areas that you have to focus on in order to go and find success. Also, if you want some help growing your business, like maybe you've been trying to grow your business, but just either not quite working, or you, just like this video says, you want to know where to start. You want a proven roadmap to be able to start your business. Go ahead and click inside the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to see if our program can be that roadmap for you, like we've helped our other students inside of the different programs. So if you want that, click the link inside the description. Let's go. So talking about the video. So we're always focused on what's called RGA. Revenue generating activities, okay? In the beginning, that's all I'm focused on, right? A business is not really a business until there is revenue. It's just a time-consuming hobby. There's nothing wrong with time-consuming hobbies, but I assume if you're doing something like this, you're trying to make money. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. So I'm avoiding non-revenue tasks. Like I'm avoiding building my website. I'm avoiding the LLC. I'm avoiding the insurance. I'm just avoiding the business cards. Now there is a time and a place for that, right? I said one time, like for the insurance, like I wait to get the insurance. Someone's like, oh, I'm all for this, but I couldn't see putting off getting the insurance. Like, well, who's gonna sue you? You have no clients. Like you don't exist. It's just an idea. There's no one that's going to sue you. So what you do instead is once you get the client, you either get the deposit or you get a signed proposal. You can get both, right? If you need a proposal and like you avoid making one, you just get one, just send me a message like on Facebook. I'll just send you like a proposal template you can use, okay? I'll help you out there. Even if you're not in the program, I'll help you out, right? But just set your onboarding, like your onboarding call date, a week out into the future. And then for that week, go get your insurance. Go get the LLC paperwork at least in motion, right? If there's a will, there's a way to do all this stuff. Sorry, camera ran out of battery, so I had to stop that camera. Cool. So again, set the onboarding call a week out into the future so you can go get official, right? But until then, just focus on making money. I promise you, it'll be worth it. I know what you might be thinking though, right? So sometimes what happens for some people is that they think that by having the website, by having the LLC, business owners will take them seriously. But that's not necessarily the case. Because think about it. You had to get a job, right? You didn't have a website. You didn't have this. Like maybe you have a resume. Okay, you already have a resume. Why don't you maybe use that resume to go and get your first client? I'm going to tell you a secret, and this is going to be a big secret, okay? You can use your resume if you have accounting experience. Like if you've been in the accounting field, you have accounting experience, just use your resume. If you don't have accounting experience, again, there's like different things we can do. Like we have like what's called a business resume as well. So we have a personal resume and a business resume. And if someone has a personal resume that's really decorated and really good and just works, we use that. If not, we give you inside of our program like a business resume you can use. Like one of our students named Rick, like he was an engineer by trade, right? His first client was like, I believe it was between like $4,000 and $5,000 a month, but he used a business resume because he didn't have a personal resume that like showed that he had accounting experience. So he used a business resume, and the CPA who referred him the client was like, "Oh, this is awesome! I've never seen something like this before." So it's just like, yeah, man, just focus on making the money. Like everything else will come and take care of itself. Okay. So and why am I so big on this point? Like what, Bryce? Why does this matter so much? Because I went through this. Like, if you know anything about my story, it took me about 14 months. It's like 15 grand a month in sales for like bookkeeping and CFO work. Why did it take me 14 months to do that? Did it have to take me 14 months? And my legs are starting to cramp up, actually. It's funny. I'm slightly dehydrated still. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. But yeah, it didn't have to take me that long. I wasted time on these non-revenue things. For example, I had this lady who gave us like some advice because she had like a successful business. She's like, yeah, you need to have your website and your brochure. And we didn't know how to make a brochure. We had no like graphic design experience. So we made this brochure. We thought it looked amazing. It took us like 2 weeks to make it. And then we come to her. She's like, oh, this looks really bad. I was like, what? So she called it kludgy. That's our word. Me and my business partner use is called kludgy. Anytime that like we do something that doesn't look like amazing, it's kludgy, and that hurt. So we had to go back to the drawing board. We took another like 2 weeks to 3 weeks to go and like make it right, and then we had to go make our website, and then we were just going and moving, just like, oh my goodness. Yeah. It was like, yeah, but we got no clients. So let me even tell you a story about the brochures. I brought the brochures to my local chamber of commerce. Do you know that to this day, they are still there? 10 years later, still sitting in the exact same spot in the chamber of commerce amidst the sea of other brochures. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. But yes, we lost like 6 months on that stuff and just like doing stuff that just didn't work, had no returns. Like, yeah, so if we had just focused on getting clients, that would have been way better, right? And I mean, I made those mistakes, so you don't have to make those mistakes. Like, just watch this YouTube channel, get help, go join our mentorship program, right? We give you all this stuff on the proven path for you. Okay, next thing, sphere of influence. So I'm leveraging current relationships, okay? So I'm turning these people into either client or referral partners, right? So let's say you have like corporate contacts. So if you have a CFO from your old job, maybe you worked at a tax firm, or my leg is still cramping. My hamstrings are cramping just sitting down. That's how you know I am dehydrated still. So, directors, senior managers, if you have any alumni associations or professors, like maybe you're a recent college grad and you have a professor that had like an accounting firm, or a professor that worked in accounting, or a professor that like worked with like small businesses, or maybe I had a professor, for example, that had like a marketing agency. So I didn't get any clients from it because, I just didn't know him back when I didn't start my business at that time. But I didn't even know you could go back to people. Because I was nervous in the beginning that you couldn't talk to your friends and family about business, or else they would think that, you were trying to sell them something. And I thought that if I tried to sell someone something, it would be really bad, right? Because I just had like a lot of negative mindsets around like selling and like asking people for money, right? So next thing, when it comes to your networking script, so let's say that you're just talking to a person, right? So we give you guys an organized script for outreach inside of our program. Like, we just walk you through exactly what to say it, how to follow up, when to follow up, etc. Right? But let's say you don't have one. So number one, I'm asking about the different pains and problems that they're either going through in their life or in their business. Okay? If there's no pain, then there's no invitation. I was talking to a student mentorship program, and like he was really, really new, and he's like, can you look at my past LinkedIn conversations, see like why people are not wanting to work with me? And like his whole conversation would be like, hey, how are things going? Boom, call to action. Do you want to go and see if I can help you with your accounting or bookkeeping? It's like, well, dude, there's not a problem, right? You haven't gotten, number one, they're not responding. Number two, you haven't really seen if there was a problem you can solve. So it does come across kind of like you're just like spamming 100 people or 1,000 people if you just go and paste that too early. You need to have a conversation, and then once the problems are kind of like thought out, then here's another thing. They might have the problem, but do they even want to solve it now? That's another thing you get to consider. Not everyone that has a problem wants to solve the problem now, right? Talk about like, what is it, the dog on the porch sleeping on the nail, right? It's like, obviously, why is the dog not getting off the nail? Or why are they not trying to take the nail out of the dog? Obviously, it's not hurting enough, or just hasn't been a long enough time, or maybe they're just numb to it and it's like they don't even realize it's a problem anymore, right? Once you have those problems, you can offer your accounting and bookkeeping help. Now, I would try to avoid hard selling, okay? You don't want to hard sell. When I say hard sell, so a lot of people actually have a misconception when it comes to hard selling. And I had this too, because when I was first getting started, I would try and do like a negotiation. So like, if someone would say like my price is too high, then I'd be like, okay, well, maybe we can do a payment plan. Can you do this? Can we do this? Could we do this? Could we do this? And like, I was just trying to help. I was just trying to see if there's a way that we could actually, like, work together. Because I thought, well, we'd already talked for like the last 45 minutes about how they wanted to do it. So I was just trying to give them different options to help them. And people actually felt that was pressuring them, because they didn't actually want to do it, but they didn't clearly tell me no. And I thought I was being helpful, but they thought it was pressure. So the key difference is you have to be slower to offer help. Do not overextend yourself. It needs to be their idea of the thing that you bring up. So if you're ever going to do a payment plan, like, it needs to feel like it's something that they're bringing up. Now, if you're in our program, remember we have the objection handling training, right? So this piece of advice I'm giving right here on this YouTube channel is for someone who's not in our program, who doesn't have access to an objection handling script. If you're in our program and you're watching our objection handling script, right, you still have to ask questions to make it start feeling like their idea. But I'm just telling a person who's not in this how to kind of think about objection handling, okay? It needs to be their idea, because if you push too hard, or if you try and get too many options, they get overwhelmed, and you have not first clarified whether or not the person actually wants to work with you. Okay, so inside our program we teach a DCI framework, right? Diffuse, clarify, isolate. Once we have that, then we determine, do they actually want to work with us? If the answer is yes, then we can move into our obstacle/objection handling. In this case, it would be money logistical, is what we kind of call it, and like that's what we phrase inside of our program, right? Because you understand that money logistical, meaning can they afford it, and like maybe it's just a cash flow issue. Or is it more of a value-based objection where it's like they don't really think the price you're asking is worth, or they don't think that the service is worth the price you're asking for, right? Big difference, right? I don't have a lot of time to go into objection handling inside of this video because I want to keep this video pretty compact, but we do have other videos on this channel that talks about like objection handling. So for me, this is a success story for me. So like one of my first major clients actually came from church. So it came from like a person that I had met. And again, if I tried to hard sell this person, it wouldn't work, right? Because this person was I believe it was like a child's doctor. What is it called? A pediatrician? I'd like to say it was a pediatrician, right? And like he didn't really need accounting or bookkeeping services, but I talked to him like after service every Sunday, right? And then one day he just introduced me to this other guy. His name was Quincy. And Quincy was literally paid me $3,000 a month. And like it was all about just like building relationships. I built relationships in the past, right? Like I had gone to church, I had talked to people kind of knew me. Then as I opened my business, I just like started telling people more and more about what I did. And I leveraged those existing contacts to get some of those first clients. Same thing with one of our clients that paid like $9,000 a month, right? That came from a past relationship of like an old job that my business partner worked at. And the person who was at the job, like she changed jobs and she found out there was a need, and that company ended up paying like us $9,000 for like a year just doing that. Another success story, so like Lauren. So inside of our program we do what's called like a low hanging fruit activity, right? They're just simple things you can do to go and create quick wins for yourself. And like we do this like on the first day like of the program, like the onboarding call. That's why like sometimes like, you'll see in our program where it's like they'll be like, this student got this much in this many days, or this student got to like $7,000 in this many days, right? Or like in 5 days, 3 days, 10 days. It's because like we're doing these low hanging fruit activities that are like very apparent for someone like myself, but maybe it's a blind spot for you that you don't even realize you can actually go and get clients utilizing this method. So in this particular case, we went through her phone contacts, right? And she basically found this person who she did a blind date with. Like I think it was like 7 years ago she went on a blind date with this person. And it didn't really go anywhere, but she ended up calling him, started talking. The person ended up having 3 businesses that were each doing like, I believe one was doing like $500,000, another was doing like $1 million, another one was doing like I think like $2 million, right? It was all like in the real estate space. He paid her $1,200 a month for each business. That's $3,600 per month off a single phone call from a 7-year ago like relationship that she had, right? So if you understand how to leverage these past relationships, it can be very, very quick. Now that didn't take her a lot of time, right? That took her about 10 days to do it, right? So it took her 1 day to do the program. We did the onboarding call like on day 2. She texted the person like I think like day 3. They basically took like 5 more days to go and set a Zoom call. They did the Zoom call, but at the end of the Zoom call, took 2 days for him to like actually sign the engagement letter and then get started. So 10 days total. Okay, doesn't take a long time if you do the right things. If you do the right things, it happens very, very quickly in this game. Okay? If you do the wrong things, you know, it can take 6 months, a year to life, right? When I say to life, it's like, because you may never get off the ground. I'm not speaking that to existence for you, but I'm just saying it could. Next thing, oops, sorry, I dropped my camera battery. Next thing, so meeting new contacts, okay? So I'm always thinking about potential referral partners. Now, in my presentation, I said think like a lion. I forgot why I wrote that for a second, but thinking like a lion. So whenever a lion is like hunting, and they're hunting a pack of gazelles, they're looking for the stragglers. What is a straggler? A straggler is someone that's in the group, or it's like of the group but not in the group. And they're kind of on the outskirts. Whenever I'm going to a networking event or I'm talking to people online or whatever, I'm looking for people that know a lot of people but just are not like in the clique or not clicky. Right? So that's how you break into new networks. So you see like, oh, this person likes everyone, but maybe they're kind of like, you know, not really attacking the group. Maybe they're like kind of in the group. Maybe they're just kind of like, maybe they're going to go get some of the stale bagels, right? So they walk away from the group. And then you start the conversation, they bring you back in, you can talk to them, right? This can happen in person, it can happen online, it doesn't really matter, right? So one of our students, for example, uses her name as Mely, and she basically got a Mary Kay director of this like network. This person was like a Mary Kay, kind of like a makeup like salesperson, right? But she was like a regional director. She had 100 people below her in what's called their downline, right? So he basically worked with Mely, created like a custom script and like campaign to go and get in front of that person, and then that person literally referred about 100 people for taxes and then monthly services. Now I say taxes because like they're a Mary Kay consultant, so like they're all pretty small businesses. So what was that, 200 times about 100? It's about $20,000 in like tax revenue, just from tax alone, not counting like any like the monthly like services she was able to offer as well. So that was a pretty big pickup. I know some people watch this, you don't do taxes. I'm not saying you have to, but just in this case, like, you know, just worked for her because she offered a lot of different services. So it was all about the director's endorsement. The endorsement allowed the people to go. So I think she had about like 500 people in her downline, 100% of them. So 20% of her audience actually went over to Mely, right? It's about building trust and building those referrals. When you're able to do that, it grows the business a lot faster, okay? So in conclusion, focus on revenue first, get your website LLC later, generate cash first, move fast, get clients, become more official over time. If you notice, in this PowerPoint presentation, if you're watching the PowerPoint, you might see a logo in the bottom right corner. Do you know that I had been in business for, let's say since like 2019 with this mentorship program? I never had a logo. Like I made this logo because I had to, what did I make the logo for? I made the logo because I was doing something. It was like some kind of event or something like that. And I just like, oh, let's just make one. It took me like 10 minutes to go make the logo. You know what I mean? But it's like, so 9, it was like, this is even counting like our accounting firm doesn't even have a logo, right? So from 10 years from being in business for our accounting firm to when I created this like logo in 10 minutes. Like, you don't need that to get started. Right? I know you might think you do, and that's what a lot of people, traditional people, will tell you. You don't need that. You don't need that. I have one because that was cool, right? But it's like, if I didn't have it, it's not like it's gonna like boost my revenue or don't boost my revenue. It doesn't matter. Awesome. So if you want some help growing your business, you want to like know like what is actually important versus like what's just a waste of time, because you know that your time is valuable. You know that, you know, the less time you can spend on the business, at least in the beginning, to go and create more results, the better, right? Because I assume that you have a family. I assume you want to spend time with your family. I assume that you have a job that you're working. And it's like, you know, I did when I was getting started. I had a job and I didn't have that much time to waste. So if you want to avoid wasting time, if you want to go reach your goals while still having a life while you're starting your business, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video. Book a call with myself or a member of my team, see if I can help you inside of our program. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're generally going to be speaking with me. I like speaking to every single person that comes from my YouTube channel because you guys give me new video idea topics, you answer questions. It's just a very, very pleasant conversation. So if you come from my YouTube channel, you're going to speak with me directly, okay? So if you want some help, click that link. If you're not quite ready, I will see you inside the next video. Take it easy, no harm, no foul. See you inside of the next event.